Hey, Cindy.
About now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Perfect.
How are you?
Ah, tired. How about you?
Yeah, same.
Same. Yeah, it's been a rough pandemic for me.
Has it?
Well, we've been busy. Healthcare got slammed.
Yeah,
So
that's
when
true.
healthcare gets slammed, healthcare infrastructure gets slammed. So we've been crazy busy, but not in, I mean, in okay ways. I mean, we're able to keep up with it. I think we've done a really great job, but it's just awful that we have to do all this.
Right.
I think we rolled
Sure.
out something like 20,000 telepresence sites to physicians that didn't have it. It's
Wow.
been this phenomenal, like, get the tech out the door, So crazy.
Chair
But I
Berenger,
think it's good. I think it's going to stay.
Chair
Yeah.
Berenger and Commissioner Edwards, I just want to remind you, I started setting things up early, so this is already recording and live, just so you
Oh,
guys know
good.
as you're
Good to
talking, just heads up.
Okay, so I won't give you a social security number or
know. No credit card numbers.
private medical PCI HIPAA data.
Hey, Reese, how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Kareem.
Kareem. Okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna guess, but I wanted to ask.
There you are.
Just trying to make sure
So,
everything's working on this back end, but I'm here.
Kat, I wanted to double check with you before we got too far into this. You can do a Zoom, like a private Zoom meeting as a work group, right? Without any kind of violation.
Were you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What?
I mean, in the past, when we've done either Tamoy or Days of Remembrance or whatever, when we've done it in people's houses or in Byerly's or whatever, we didn't care about the fact that it was not published, right?
Right, because it's a subcommittee.
Subcommittee. So when we do our Zoom meeting, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying hi. This is Jennifer, and Reese is doing all the stuff tonight. So I'm on here just helping her take notes and stuff, but I'll probably have my camera off, Kat, since I'm not
Oh, okay.
calling roll. So, but I'm here if you have any questions. So, hi, Cindy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Good. Like I was just saying, busy but good.
That is kind of how it is. I feel like time.
I know I have to work right after this meeting. In fact, I've got two laptops here, and I'm going to do that in between
Oh,
them.
gosh.
Wow.
Crazy silly.
Hi, Heidi.
Hello, Commissioner Felton. Can I get a mic check on you? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Oh, okay. Sometimes I think it's me.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well, Kat. How about yourself?
Good.
Good.
Good to see you.
Yes, a month goes by quite fast, doesn't
It
it?
does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Michael.
How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Staying out of the heat.
Yeah. It's been a hot week.
Yeah.
Kind of tired of this 3 garbage can deal. I had to haul 3 cans out to the curb tonight. You guys have all gotten your recycling and your organics, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. New habits.
We better have people come on faster.
Yeah.
Hey, Kat. This is Jennifer. Rick Ross just left me a voicemail and he can't get on. So I'm going to connect with Ryan and see if we can figure out what's going on with him. So Rick Ross, Commissioner Ross. So I haven't heard from anyone else though. So I'm not sure if others are just, but there was the 2 invites. You know what I mean? There could be a little confusion around that.
Right.
So I'm just letting you know we'll work with him and see if we can get him hooked up here.
Sure. And you saw the email from Jim?
Yes, so Jim's not joining. Yep, and Jasmine will be here, I think, at first. It sounded like.
Yes.
So.
My app needed to re-download, so I'm wondering if maybe that's happening.
Yeah,
Okay.
it has that problem too.
So it just took an extra 1 minute.
Okay.
Like a WebEx extension?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, if you didn't know to click on it, you may not even notice that it's not going anywhere. You know, to re-download or whatever.
Right. Because it was working before and now all of a sudden it.
Right, yeah. Because if you click the join, it's going to spin.
Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Kat. Kat, are those like paddle oars behind you?
Oh, yeah. We bought a canoe, but we haven't had a chance to break it in yet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, are you on the line still?
Am?
I have a question. Jasmine and Commissioner Meeks, I see them as attendees instead of participants, and they can hear everything, they can see us, but how do I switch that for them? Or I don't even know how they ended up on the attendee list instead of the participants.
I think
That's what I'm saying.
this is Jennifer. I think they maybe clicked on the wrong link. So if you can hear us, I will send you the panelist link, Jasmine and Michelle, and you can maybe get out of the meeting and then re-log in that way. That should put you on the right one. Does that sound okay, Reese?
Commissioner Meeks
Just
said-
quickly,
said
Reese,
yes.
could you right click on them or anything like that and
I
simply
cannot.
promote them to a panelist?
Yeah, maybe you can invite them from.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
I think I did.
Yeah, you do have that power as host, I think.
Okay. I think
I see Michelle. Oh, there she is.
So,
Thank you.
Oh.
Ryan, for thinking of that.
Hi,
Of course.
everyone.
Jasmine,
Michelle, looks like you're muted. See a little red.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. Now can you hear me?
Yep.
Good.
Same for Jasmine.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Reese, you look like you're at mission control over there.
I've got 4 screens. This is my first time doing tech things, so I was like, I
Oh
cannot
my
miss a
God.
step.
You look so important. You really do.
So if I'm talking, and my camera's over here, but I'm looking over here, so I feel bad. People think I'm not paying attention, but I am. My camera's over here.
Don't worry. No, you look super important.
so Rick was having some trouble logging on, so we were just giving it a minute to let Ryan help him out.
Hello, Cindy. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Jasmine.
Hello.
How are you,
Hi,
Mark?
Barb.
I'm doing well.
So Reese, in the interest of time, should we get started and just give consideration to the fact that Rick is here, or should we wait a little bit longer?
Well, it's 7:05. Heidi, what is your perspective? We're already streaming live on YouTube. I haven't started officially recording this meeting, so it hasn't officially started, but there seems like a few people have already logged into the YouTube live stream and are viewing this. So there still looks like about 5 people waiting.
Hey, Michael, I didn't
Can't
see
hear
you.
you, Heidi.
Do we know if Ryan had a chance to connect with Commissioner Ross?
This is Jennifer. I sent Ryan's number to Commissioner Ross, and he has not heard from him yet. So we're still working on it.
I think in the interest of time, would you like to get started?
Yeah, I
Here,
think we should
Beatrice?
get started. Okay, so I'll start with the announcements. Welcome everyone to the August 25th meeting of the Human Rights and Relations Commission. This meeting is being held electronically to comply with the Governor's Safe Minnesota order and to ensure the safety of all residents and staff. All members of the HRRC and staff are participating from their homes or offices. For members of the commission, please remember to mute your microphone when you're not speaking and raise your hand if you would like to speak. We ask that you do not use the chat function in WebEx as we meet unless you are having technology problems. We will have roll call votes for each motion this evening, as well as adjournment. I will ask fellow Reese Kareem to roll call each motion. I will repeat the motion for the record before we vote, and will also repeat who made the motion and seconded. We will have a full agenda again tonight, so please remember those watching, listening in, and your fellow commissioners, and let's try to stay on topic. Before we begin, there are a few things I'd like to cover for those listening in or watching online. The public had 2 ways to view the meeting tonight. They can watch the live stream on the city's YouTube channel or listen via phone using the WebEx call-in number. There is no community comment during the meeting tonight. The city is committed to hearing and receiving your input on matters. The public can send in comments to the City Council or HRRC through the Council Correspondence web form on our website. The recording of the meeting will also be available to watch on the city's website tomorrow. Go to Watch a Meeting link under the I Want To tab on the homepage. Thanks in advance for your patience as we work to conduct this meeting online using different software types and people all participating from their own homes. We hope that there will not be any issues, but be assured that we will do our best to continue the meeting as best we can if there are glitches. Thank you to everyone tuning in tonight for your interest in the HRRC and the work that we do for the city. All right. So we can call this meeting to order. Reese, would you do the roll call?
Yes, Chair Behringer,
Here.
Commissioner Epstein,
Here.
Commissioner Ishmael, Commissioner Ross, Commissioner Felton,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson, Commissioner Edwards,
Here.
Commissioner
Here.
Commissioner Stringer Moore,
Here.
Student Commissioner Iyer, Student Commissioner Waldron.
And I just recently got an email from Commissioner Ismail, and she is having issues logging in to the meeting. So I had her connect with Director Browning.
Okay. All right. So next on our agenda is the approval of the meeting agenda. Are there any comments on the agenda? All right. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the meeting agenda, and Commissioner Stringer Moore has made the motion and Commissioner Epstein seconded. Reese, would you do the roll call?
Chair Behringer,
Aye.
Commissioner Epstein,
Aye.
Commissioner Ishmael, not present, Commissioner Ross, Commissioner Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Nelson, Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Meek,
Aye.
Commissioner Stringer Moore,
Aye.
and both student commissioners are not present.
All right, so the motion carries and we will follow the agenda. Next, we've got the meeting minutes. Are there any comments on the meeting minutes from last time? So I did have one thing. I noticed that in the roll call, under absent, it says student commissioner, and I think it's supposed to say student commissioner Iyer.
Oh, I see that. There's no name.
Yeah.
I will track this change. I'll fix that.
Good eye, Kat.
So any other comments? Do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from last time?
So moved.
Second.
Who seconded? Oh,
Mark.
okay. So we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes with Commissioner Epstein making the motion and Commissioner Felton seconding. Reese, would you do the roll call?
Will do.
Hi,
Chair
Preston.
Behringer,
Aye.
Commissioner Ishmael?
I don't actually
Uh,
hear you.
all right. Commissioner Epstein?
Aye.
Commissioner Felton?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Meek?
Aye.
Commissioner Stringer Moore?
Aye.
Thank you.
Welcome, Bartoon.
Cartoon made it.
Yeah. So, moving on, the motion carries for the meeting minutes. So the next item on our agenda would be the special recognitions and presentations. And we wanted to say farewell to the student commissioners. It was a to be a student commissioner. But we did appreciate everything that they've done, showing up for meetings and being involved in the work that we do at the city. So it's unfortunate that they weren't able to make it tonight, but you know, like I said, it's been a different time. We really do enjoy having student commissioners with us. They are an important voice on our commission. So if anybody who's watching is thinking about or knows somebody who would be interested in being a student commissioner, I encourage students to sign up for any of the commissions. I think it's a really good experience, and I know that we have really appreciated all of past and present student commissioners. So thank you to Student Commissioner Iyer and Student Commissioner Waldron. All right. Any further comments? Okay, we'll move on to reports and recommendations. So first we have the 2020 work plan. So updates on the work plan. So initiative 1, which is Days of Remembrance, has been postponed. So moving on to initiative 2, which is the Tom Oy Award, and Commissioner Edwards and Epstein and I will be meeting next week. So we'll have an update for you soon. Moving on to initiative.
Kat, has the pandemic had any impact on our ability to get students to participate? Probably hasn't.
In what?
We should still be able to roll this out the same way we have in the past, right?
Oh yeah, I think so. And it is open to anyone in the city. But yeah, I think students in particular should know about it. And, you know, I think that's something that we'll discuss further. And if anybody has any ideas of ways that we could make students more aware of this opportunity, that would be great to hear.
Thanks.
Any further comments? Okay. Let's see. So initiative 3, which is the cross commission with the HRRC and the EEC. Oh, great. It's the sharing value sharing conversation. Sorry. I should know that by now. So, okay. So, Jasmine, did you want to give an update?
Yep, sure. So we've met a couple of times. I think the biggest news that come from our meetings, and Heidi, I'll let you speak to that, is that we are now going to add another working committee. We're going to divide up the events. So I think the group with myself, Chair Behringer, Commissioner Meek, and Commissioner Nelson, we are going to continue working on the first community event, or sharing value, sharing community conversation event, which was the contextual event that we discussed with having Professor Duchess Harris from Macalester College, Dinah student and resident Arjun Mashari, and then now it's my understanding or our understanding that Police Chief Nelson would like to be a part of that conversation also. So our plan is to hopefully have that event the end of September, September 23rd, I believe is the date that we discussed, and then allow the new committee that will be, I guess, assigned or agreed upon today to work on the more open community forum events where we will actively engage the community for feedback. Not that the community won't be able to provide feedback during event one, but event one is we're calling it understanding how Edina's history intersects with race and policing. That's our proposed title for right now. But then the second event will be more interactive and engage more of our community stakeholders. Is that correct, Heidi?
Yeah, so I think the discussion that you would want to have as a commission is that in the previous meetings that you've had, there was a suggestion or a recommendation to have a working group. With the working group, that there are processes that are involved. So for instance, a working group, there has to be a grid print. The grid print has to be available for folks to apply for up to 14 days. And then after that, the grid print then has to take all of the applicants. And then you as a commission would have to approve all of those that wanted to be part of the working group. And knowing that this particular, this sharing values and sharing committees, community conversation is with urgency because the community wants it, we are able to have another subcommittee within the HRC. And so as Commissioner Stringer-Moore has indicated, that one of the subcommittees would be focusing their energies on the presentation by the Professor Harris, as well as Arjun and the police chief. So that would be their focus. And then another subcommittee within the commission would then be focusing on the second event, which would be that community conversation. And for this, we normally don't have two subcommittees within a particular initiative. However, we are aware that there is urgency in getting this particular event or events completed. And so the conversation that you will want to have as a commission is first, is there an approval to have a subcommittee, a second subcommittee that will be focusing on the community conversations. And that is tentatively scheduled in October. So that is one of the conversations that you will want to have as a committee and approve that. So then there would provide opportunities for all of the commission members to participate, whether it's in the first event or in the second event. Keep in mind that you don't want to have a subcommittee that has potential for quorum.
So that'd be a subcommittee of 4 people or less.
Yes. Thank you.
Want to know. So I guess, do we have a motion to add the subcommittee? So I guess we would call that initiative 3A.
So moved.
We have a second.
All right. So I think Jasmine made a motion. So Jasmine has a motion to have a subcommittee for a second subcommittee for initiative 3, and Commissioner Felton seconded. Reese, would you do the roll call?
No problem. Chair Barrender?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Epstein?
Aye.
Commissioner Felton?
Aye.
Commissioner Meek?
Aye.
Commissioner Stringer-Moore?
Aye.
Thank you.
So, all right. And so the motion carries. So I wanted to ask, we had talked about having the first event September 23rd. Are we able to do that?
Has there been confirmation that the presenters or speakers are available for that particular day, Commissioner Stringer-Moore?
I've sent emails to them, so I'm waiting to hear back. So, but if they say yes, I mean, it's like, what do you put first, the chicken or the egg? I'd hate to say we're going with this date and then it comes back that they can't that we're not going with this date. So I'd like to know from the city ends, because it seems like the city is the more complex scheduler at this point, that we have a date. But I have reached out to them.
Thank you. I think one of the pieces that we need to consider with the planning is just the logistical pieces. And so I think as a subcommittee, you've had conversations of what does that look like for technology wise and accessibility for folks. And so that once we have more of a definite date that we can go forward with that. I did go ahead and talk to Director Browning as far as what is the capabilities. And so thinking about even in our current state right now, we are going through the presentation through WebEx events. So we do have that capability where folks are able to be part of the panelist and then folks are able to hear the presentation itself. So we do have those capabilities. I am still waiting to hear back on what does it look like for a facility, potentially, especially with COVID times and social distancing. So that might be something that we would want to consider for the second subcommittee to consider when there are having community conversations.
So is that a yes or no that we can move forward with the 23rd of September? I'm confused. Sorry.
If you are able to get the folks available, yes, we would be able to. However, you also want to, I want to just kind of preface as far as the really tight timeline for the marketing piece. So that's something that I would have to work within the constructs of the marketing for communications.
Okay.
But that is a possibility. So we just need to make sure that they are available for that date.
So
Okay.
it's feasible for the city, but we need to hear back from the speakers.
All right. Well, I'll follow up tomorrow. Okay, great.
But Heidi, you're saying they'll be virtual, right?
Yes.
Do we have the time that it will be?
As a subcommittee, I believe that you finalized the time, or I know there was proposals for it at 6 o'clock, I believe.
I thought it was 7.
Yeah, we
7?
said 7. Yeah, but we
Okay.
just want to confirm because we said the time of the meeting, but I just want to make sure that we're in alignment. So.
Yep. And I did have a conversation as far as the potential date for this September 23rd.
Mm-hmm. So maybe September 23rd from 7 to 9 p.m. And if they're available, maybe 45 minutes for Dr. Harris, and then 15 minutes for Arjun and Police Chief Nelson, and then Q&A and introduction.
Okay.
That's 15 minutes apiece.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So 45 minutes for Professor Harris, 15 minutes for Arjun, 15 minutes for Police Chief Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
And then the remaining 45 would be for Q&A.
Introduction and Q&A. Yeah.
Okay.
And Heidi, it's Michelle. I just wanted to clarify one thing, because you said it just is tight on marketing with the city. Do you just mean like doing a press release and getting into any material? Okay.
Yep. And I think it speaks to just the piece that you all talked about as far as accessibility. And so if people wanted to participate, how would they get the information? And so just knowing kind of within the constraints of when marketing goes out, or addition of Dinah, for instance. So.
Yeah, definitely. And we may want to try to, I don't know if we could even talk to Andrew Wigg. I'd be happy to take that. I know we'll talk about that offline, but I'm just almost thinking if we could do kind of a similar thing to what we've done with Days of Remembrance, is try to get him to put something out. If Jasmine, Dr. Harris would potentially be willing to, talk to him in advance of, for a 15-minute phone interview or something in advance of the event. Or something like that, so that we could get some different ways of reaching people, knowing that marketing is going to be a little bit tight and tougher given COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that there has been a change as far as the community editor for Sun Current. So Andrew Wigg is now the managing editor. And
okay.
Anderson is the community editor.
Okay, who is it? Kaylin Ingerson?
Caitlin Anderson.
Caitlin Anderson. Okay, cool. Thank you. I didn't know that. Okay. Great. Thank you.
All right, is there any further discussion on the first community conversation? Okay, so let's move on to the second. We'll need to populate that subcommittee. Is there any interest in being on the second subcommittee for planning the open forum? Okay, Commissioner Felton.
I would mind being on the second committee too.
Okay.
Unless someone else really wants to, but I'd love to be a part of it.
So, okay, well,
Serve on the second committee also for.
Okay, so we have Michelle, Jasmine, and Mark. And we'll have an open spot in case somebody else wants to join. When do we get the new student commissioners? Not until later, right?
Their first meeting will be in September.
Oh, okay. So maybe one of the student commissioners would like to be a part of that. Or Rick, since he wasn't able to be here. So, okay, great. Is there any discussion about the open forum or? All right. Initiative 4, that was the rubric for the city facility artwork and decor. Is there an update on that? I know the rubric was completed and I think it was being sent to council. Is that correct? Has council had a chance to review it?
Yes, it was sent to council on the August 18th city council meeting and it was approved. Part of the approval process is for the HRC to go ahead and use the rubric for the mayor's conference room as well as the city hall atrium and provide their assessment and send it to city council for their review.
Great.
And Heidi, you'll be doing the video, yes? You'll be doing, yeah, okay. And then I can share that with the whole subcommittee. Cool, okay.
What's the video, Michelle?
Well, we're not allowed in City Hall because City Hall's closed. So, right. So we're, Heidi is going to, oh, that's so cute. Oh, she's so cute.
Heidi's going to document it.
Oh, she's darling.
Thank you, guys.
Oh. Yeah, so anyway, sorry, Heidi is gonna video the conference room so we can see it and the atrium and give our recommendations that way. So yeah.
Things have to be done differently.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, great to see that that's approved and we're able to move on. So that's good news. All right, moving along, any further comment before we move on? All right, initiative 5, which was the cross commission work with the Parks Department or the Parks Commission. And that was Jasmine and Cindy. Was there any update on that? I know that Heidi was going to follow up with the Parks Commissioner. Is there any progress on that or anything to report?
I think this will actually feed into our conversations for the 2021 work plan for the HRC. There has been conversation with the staff liaison to potentially, in a sense, take this initiative back and have the staff members go ahead and create the plan to be able to reach communities of color and underserved populations. So creating a survey as well as the different modes and then submitting it back to the HRC for a review and comment, as well as a timeline. So that is in shifting the work for 2021.
Okay, that's great because I know Cindy had made a comment about the lack of data. So.
Yep. I think that's great. I would think we're better positioned to advise and comment than we are to draft, you know?
Yeah. So any further comment on Initiative 5? Okay, Initiative 6, which is the bias offense plan review. Is there any update to that?
I did go ahead and speak with Police Chief Nelson, and just as far as the conversations that you all previously had of scheduling a quarterly meeting with the police chief, he has indicated that he is on board. And so in our conversations that we had last month, for the commissioners that are on this particular initiative, to put that in the bias response plan, so that we have that detail. So the police chief is on board to be able to meet with the subcommittee.
That's great news.
And then he's still reviewing the plan, right? And then we'll add that in and send it to council.
What I would suggest is that you have a meeting with him sometime by the end of this year to firm up a lot of the things that are on the bias offense plan that's been created by the HRC. And then also being able to take a look at the city's bias response through the lens of the police department.
That's a good idea. Since it would be virtual, is that something you can set up, Heidi, or should we? Okay, great.
I can set that up.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any further comments? That's great. Okay, Initiative 7, that's completed. That was the 50th anniversary proclamation. Initiative 8, and that is still in progress because we have not received any housing policy from the Housing Task Force. Initiative 9 is also the parks. Is that the same situation as the earlier initiative with the Parks Department?
I actually received an email regarding this particular capital improvement plan from the Parks liaison, and I have forwarded that on to Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Meek for their review, since this particular initiative is a review and comment.
Oh,
yeah. And Heidi, by when do you need feedback on that? I saw that. I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to provide comment yet.
I haven't been able to get the timeline since the staff liaison is not available this week.
Okay, thank you.
There wasn't
Just
really
let us
a whole
know.
lot there, Heidi.
Okay.
I was kind of, I mean, do you want email comment? Is that?
Yes, please.
all right. So I guess we'll wait to see when that's completed. Okay. Sounds good. So then next on the agenda is the 2021 work plan. So carrying over is the Days of Remembrance event. That's Initiative 1. Is there anything we need to do, Heidi?
No, there isn't. I think it's a conversation if this is something that as a group you want to carry over, just to make sure, because next month is when you as a commission will be approving the 2021 work plan. And then it will go through the process where then it will be submitted to City Council for their review. And then I will go ahead and put in staff recommendations as well. So really thinking about just bringing it back to the conversations that you previously had as a commission, of making sure that you have enough work for capacity and not too much work.
Got it.
Right.
All right. So we're just going through it right now. Okay. So then Initiative 2 is the Tom Oy Award. So that would be also carrying over. Initiative 3 is again the Sharing Values, Sharing Communities event. do we need to put any specifics to that, or is that just open, or?
I think from your conversations that it was open. I do actually just want to go back to Initiative 2. For Initiative 2, I know that it is coordinate and select one recipient for the 2021 Tom Oy Award. And just knowing the patterns as far as the applications that have been received. So for example, last year there was 4 applications received, 2 for the student and then 2 for the community member. And then previously, I believe there was maybe 4. So is this with the Tom Oy Award, is there a possibility? Because I know there are other organizations or cities that do the award every other year or biannually. So that's just a consideration as well. Really thinking about is with the amount of work that is connected to it, is this something as a commission that you recommend that it is yearly, or is this a consideration that you would want to think about having it every other year? I know that the HRC is known for having the award every year and having it awarded in December when it aligns with human rights. But that is just a consideration for you to think about as a commission.
Yeah, I would just like to, I'd like to chime in. My recommendation is that we would actually keep it because I think it's one of our cornerstone programs. And I think we were light on nominations, applications last year, but the year before we had a significant increase. So I know that it is like a varying year by year kind of situation. And I do think that from last year in the discussion prior to last year was that we were going to do one student award and one adult award. Is that no longer the case? Just
It will be for one award for the Tom Oy.
so only one award, not an adult and student.
Yes.
I think Jasmine, that was a council decision.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right. Any other comments about having it annually or biannually? In terms of workload, this is my first time on the subcommittee, so I can't really speak to that. But I agree with Jasmine that I would like to see it continue annually. I think it's important to try and shine a light on people who do this kind of work just on their own and the contributions that they make to the city of Edina. Any other comments? All right. So let's see. Initiative 3 then is back to the sharing values, sharing communities events.
And for this one, I know that there was conversation about splitting because you weren't, as a group, you didn't know if the race, justice, and policing community awareness was going, like, what did that look like for it to carry over? So you wanted to have that ability for the sharing values, sharing committees to, in a way, dictate what that topic looks like for next year.
Well, isn't that Initiative 4?
The conversation was that you would have it split. So you would have 2 events. You would have 2 items on there. Because
so is Initiative 4 just a reward? Oh, no? Okay.
So I think Initiative 4 is our traditional sharing value, sharing community event. Chair Behringer that we have, and then the new Initiative 5 would be, Initiative 3 is our traditional sharing value, sharing community, and then Initiative 4 would be whatever events or implementation that we initiate after as a result of the race, justice, and policing community event. Is that correct, Heidi?
Yes.
So that was the one where I was advocating that maybe this year we didn't do Initiative 3.
4 looks like a document.
Well, I think Initiative 3 this year has become this community forum. That's why we're going to have the 2 events. So I think because we talked about other topics for our sharing value, sharing community event.
Yeah, I guess what I was saying, yeah, if 4 has an event attached to it though, which I see what you're saying, Commissioner Edwards, it doesn't read like that, then that's different. I don't know about 2 different events in the same year.
In addition to the Days of Remembrance.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so I don't think we know what Initiative 4 is. I think it's just a follow-up because it says implementation.
Okay.
Really big, I guess, to give us.
And I think that was connected to the conversations that you, the subcommittee had as far as the number 3 and 4 on the recommendations for your initial race, justice, and policing recommendations. Because there was other components to it. For example, a book club or a podcast. So that was the conversation leading into what does implementation for 2021 look like.
Got it. So it was tied to the recommendations from the subcommittee last time.
Well, it has review and decide on it, which makes it sound like there's definitely a document to review.
But it's similar to the Days of Remembrance, or when you have an event where you, as a commission, get to, as a whole, review and decide what that plan looks like and carry that forward.
But we're not actually crafting the plan, we're just reviewing it.
Well, it would be an implementation plan as for you as a committee to decide what are the things, the education, for example, educational pieces that you want to implement for 2021 that's connected to race, justice, and policing.
The event that we're having this year.
Yep.
So I guess it'll be maybe somewhat community led when we have that second event. With input from the community. I think that'll provide more guidance and probably help shape it up. Is my understanding.
Okay, so it's basically just leaving some space from what we learned from the October and September events.
That's correct.
Okay, that makes sense. So is there any further comment on Initiative 4? Yes, Commissioner Feldham? Oh, you're on mute. Mark, did you want to say something?
Sorry, you guys. Right now, the event that Jasmine is working on is scheduled for September
23rd.
23rd, okay. Is anyone concerned, or I'm a little concerned that the real purpose that's driving all this was the George Floyd killing. And I'm somewhat concerned that I don't want to set the police chief up for failure, or I don't want to create I want the meeting to be constructive, to add value. And I'm wondering how he may be positioned at that meeting, given that no real movement has been made on several of the initiatives that the Race and Equity team put out in 2018. And I'm wondering how the community might take that. So I'm wondering if there's any way he can show or provide anything that will show that he's working towards, I guess I don't know quite how to say it, but what I'm trying to say is I don't want him to be set up for failure. And I want it to be a constructive meeting.
I hear what you're saying. We only just found out that he wanted to participate, so we haven't had a chance to have any preliminary conversations with him. So I'm sure that there's things that he is wanting to share with the community. We just don't really know what that is at the moment.
Okay,
Does that sound right, Heidi?
Mm-hmm. And I have had a conversation with Police Chief Nelson, and he would like to be part of that conversation as it relates to policing, race, justice, and policing. So he did indicate he wants to be part of that. And so I think that is a conversation with the subcommittee to really work out what the details look like with Professor Harris, as well as our June, and how does that flow of that particular panel. And then I think it also speaks to what does the planning look like for the community conversation itself in October. Because the initial presentation or the panel that's on in September may provide some questions that community members are having. And then it could also lend itself to the topic or the conversation of in the October event, right? So it could definitely feed into the topics and how the police, as well as the Edina police, are doing their work with race and equity and how it connects to the killing of George Floyd.
Yeah, I thought it was a good sign that he wanted to participate. And this particular event was set up to share information to inform the second event where it would be more open. So, but yes, I agree. I don't want to see him set up to fail or anything like that. I want it to be informative and helpful for all parties, including the police. So.
absolutely.
There's been progress on the Race and Equity Task Force. I mean, Mark kind of made it sound like there's been no movement whatsoever, but you've been working diligently. Is any of that getting published?
I think from my perspective, there has been a lot of inquiries being made of the police data collection. And that one has kind of been at the major forefront where people are concerned that there hasn't been any movement because it's tied to how the perception potentially could be of policing, right? And so I know I've been in conversations with the police chief. I know that folks have been trying to see what does that look like. And I know Commissioner Felton had spoken up last meeting as far as to be able to get a status update. And so one of my challenges with my work is how do I put in a narrative that is less than 4 sentences? Because if you look at the race and equity work plan that is submitted to City Council every quarter, it's only a little blurb. But I know in my conversations with the police chief, he has done the work. He is doing the work, trying to figure out what does benchmark look like, and really knowing that there's technology pieces that are hindering that. So that also aligns with, there isn't any current standards, right, of police data collection. So there isn't a way to be able to translate that so that there is a standard of, X police department is doing this, Y police department is doing this. So it's cohesive. And really thinking about the fact that within the city of Edina, the way that it's divided out as far as like grid wise. If, for instance, if you think about accidents that happen on 62 or Highway 100, the police department of Edina does not necessarily have the authority because it is a highway. So potentially it's the state troopers that have that authority within that.
Jurisdiction.
Right?
Really.
Jurisdiction,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
And so some of that data may not necessarily be available within the Edina Police Department. So it's also making sure how is the data that it's being presented accurate and whole. And not just having different pieces show that. So I think that in itself, there's a lot of work. Again, going to the technology pieces, right? And it's the integration of the body cameras that were just approved from City Council. All of those pieces in order to be able to say, this is how we are accurately creating data and presenting that to folks. So there is work. Like I said, 4 sentences can only fit so much in the little box. But there is conversation about what does this look like.
I want to thank Commissioner Edwards for making that statement or bringing up that question. And Heidi, thank you again for that explanation, because that's something I think the public would like to hear, that this is something you can't throw together overnight. It takes, to do it right, to do it accurately. And as you explained, and perhaps he may be able to explain that as well to the public so that they can understand. So thank you, Commissioner Edwards, for bringing that up.
Thank you.
And Heidi, yeah.
And I also want you to know that there are folks that call me directly and ask those particular questions. And I've had numerous questions and answers, just half-hour phone calls with folks to be able to provide that information. So, we are being transparent in the things that we're doing. It may not be moving as fast as we want it to do, but there is work that is being done.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you. Thank you, Kat.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I'm grateful for that conversation. So, all right, I lost my place. Is there any further comment before we move on to Initiative 5? All right, so Initiative 5 would be the bias offense, and that would also be carrying over. Initiative 6 is provide feedback on plan to reach and survey communities of color to identify barriers for participation in programming. So that's the Park and Rec one rewritten. Okay.
Say Parks and Rec. Is that more than just Parks and Rec?
This should, I will add it in. It should be for Parks and Rec.
Okay. I was going to check.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Edwards.
It sounded like, everything, the scope of everything. So
I'll go ahead and update that so that it reflects Parks and Rec.
That would take us a while.
Yep.
And that's it.
And then also just at the very bottom of that page, on page 3, thinking about, is there a particular proposed joint work session that you would, as a commission, like to have? So generally with the joint work session, it's to provide an update to City Council with your work plan. I know that Chair Berenger and Vice Chair Epstein went ahead and provided that joint work session in April, and that was done virtually. So is there an idea or a potential suggestion of 1 month that you would like to have a joint work session?
I think earlier in the year is better, like get April, May, June.
Okay. Are there others that have any other, is there 1 month that you might be leaning towards? April, May?
If I have to pick just one, I guess I would go with April.
Yeah,
Okay.
April worked well.
I second that.
Okay. I will put in a request for April to be the work session with council.
So, okay, so that's the whole work plan for 2021. Is there anything that we wanted in the parking lot? Is there anything that we're missing? Is it too much? Is it too little? Any comments? I think we're good, Heidi.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I will go ahead and update initiative number 6, that it indicates that it's Parks and Rec. And then I will actually bring another copy, a final copy for you all to decide
Okay.
on your September meeting. And then I will also let you know what my staff comments are on there as well. So you will be made aware of that.
Okay. Previously in the parking lot, we had something about a relationship, just maintaining a relationship with Indiana Public Schools. Is that something that we want to put on there, or did that kind of fall by the wayside? I think that was Jasmine and Michelle. Yeah, Jasmine?
You're on mute, Jasmine.
Yeah, and no, and I think we also talked about having a liaison with the police department this year too. So we were going to have 2 kind of liaison roles, if memory serves me correct, from a previous meeting. And I'm not looking at the minutes, I'm only looking at the work plan. So
Well, I think that was moved to the subcommittee of the bias offense.
Okay.
Thanks for mentioning that, Commissioner Stringer. We should probably add that, Heidi, to that one. That involves also quarterly meetings with the police chief.
Yeah, that would be good to be.
Yeah, thank you.
I will go ahead and add that in on initiative number 5.
Great. So have you had any conversations with EPS? I know there was somebody specific you were talking to.
Yeah, she's retiring, Mary Mandel.
Yeah.
She's retiring.
Is there somebody in her role?
I'm not sure. I haven't had any communication. Commissioner Meek, can you speak to that?
No, yeah, I mean, I can say I don't know who is taking over her role, but I certainly can find out. And what I was going to say with schooling, I do know that we had talked about bringing in, I know we have Arjun that's going to be speaking on the panel, the race and policing panel, but we also talked about connecting with the schools for, I believe, the second part of that series. So when we do that, I'm thinking we can maybe, have that conversation, get introduced to the new Mary Manderfield, and figure out kind of how to just get that conversation, that dialogue going once we get to that second phase of the sharing, value sharing communities.
And I also have,
does that make sense?
I also have a contact in the school district that wants to be part of the planning for the subcommittee for event 2. So as the subcommittee, I will forward on that contact for you as well.
If you have someone else that wants to be on the subcommittee, I'll step off because I was kind of at capacity. So if you have another person, I'm going to step off the event 2 subcommittee.
With the person from the Edina Public Schools, would that person fill that role? I guess that's not a working group.
They wouldn't fill that role. The role of the subcommittee is to be the in between for the commission and the group of folks that are planning the event number 2. So there can be folks that are outside of the commission itself planning the number 2 event, but you would want to at least have at least 3 or 4 at the most for the subcommittee on the HRC. I would recommend that you had also mentioned earlier, Chair Behringer is potentially seeing if Commissioner Ross would be interested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Kat, can I?
Yeah.
How does everyone feel about adding an accountability piece to our task? And again, I'm asking because I'm brand new and I really don't know what's appropriate or not. And I hate for it all to fall on Heidi. So what are your thoughts?
I'm not sure what you mean by an accountability piece.
Yes, with the race and equity work plan and all the tasks that were listed, is there anyone other than Heidi following up to make sure things are done on a timely basis? This might even be more of a concern when it comes January if James Pierce is elected to council and he ran this or chaired this equity task force, and then that might be something, again, being proactive and being to say, hey, we have this, we've implemented this, and we are taking your recommendations seriously, and we are, are holding ourselves accountable for achieving those goals. Maybe that's something we're doing already with the initiatives that we have already, but it's just something that I wanted to ask, being a new kid on the block.
Jasmine, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I mean, it's my understanding, and Heidi, feel free to speak in, and I know Commissioner Meek, you were on the commission, but as the Race and Equity Task Force work was assigned, that one of Heidi's roles is to manage it, but we were really hoping that race and equity work would be embedded throughout the city, and so that all of the commissions and all of the departments would be committed to race and equity work and actually doing the work too, with Heidi as a liaison and a facilitator and an aide. But we don't want the onus, it was my understanding, to fall on one commissioner or one person, that we really wanted it to be embedded in a part of the city at its core, as opposed to, just put in one bucket with HRRC working on it. But we really wanted it to be a part of who the city of Edina is, the work, and the context of everything.
All right, Michelle, did you have a comment?
Yeah, and I just, absolutely, Jasmine, and I just wanted to add to that. So in addition to obviously what Jasmine said about having that kind of be a common thread through all the programming in the city, we are, as human rights commissioners, are volunteers, right? So we really did, when we came together and as the Race and Equity Task Force, we were volunteers. Our recommendations were very much, when we made those, it was thought of as, this is for the city to implement, right? Now, with the help of human rights, yes, but again, if you understand that, right, it has to be owned by the city. It can't be owned by volunteers that are rolling on and off of commissions. Or I should say, it's fine if, we're doing the sharing values, or, different initiatives might be moved forward by human rights, but accountability has to lay with the city and by the people that are going to be, have that longevity and that actually really do own it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say, looking back over the 2020 work plan, it's sort of frustrating that the cross-commission work with the Parks Commission didn't really go anywhere, but really encouraging that they took it back. So it's not just Heidi working on it, but the Parks Department is going to be working on it, because it's not really supposed to fall just Heidi. It's supposed to be a citywide initiative that is on race and equity.
Okay, I'm good. Again, I'm the new kid on the block, so I'm still learning.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate all your comments.
Similar to the way the
something,
comprehensive
Michelle?
plan worked.
Was that Sydney?
It's similar to the way the comprehensive plan worked, where we had a common thread throughout every chapter along with our own, but the intent was to make sure there was a human rights lens posed on any of the city's endeavors. And I think that's true for the parks too. I mean, we really do need to advise. We can't tell them how to run the parks department, but we can certainly make sure that they're looking at it through the right lens and the right focus.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thanks everyone for your comments. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else to add? Okay. That's 2021. So let's see. Then I think we're on to chair and member comments, if there's nothing else.
This is Fortune speaking. I just want to. It's nothing to do with what we have just discussed, but I just want to go back. Can you hear me? I see Michael just putting his ears down. Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay. It's nothing to do anything about what we just talked about, discussed, but it's something to do with the event for the community that they're planning. Jasmine and Marshall, and am I saying right? I wanted to say, if you guys need me to be part of that, I'm raising two little girls, and I have a lot of things. I don't want to put myself onto something that I may not, take responsibility that I'm not going to complete. But I wanted to, since this is something to do with the community and policing and all this stuff, I wanted to come perspective of East African community that I can engage if they need people to come there, or they need someone who is educated, or they can understand the conversation, that they can, because my people are word of mouth. They don't usually go to internet or watch a YouTube, or go to website. But if there's a people that some mothers who speak good English or understand English, I can make them join. If it's a virtual, or maybe if we're coming together, someone just putting this out there. So I'm available on that day. So you can just let me know if you guys need me to put some time on that side. I can engage those community and tell them that, do you have any points to mention, or do you have any perspective to talk about that?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Fartun.
Thank you too.
And
Jasmine?
yeah, and Fartun, I was going to say, I know one of the things that maybe we could definitely use your assistance with is making sure that we are reaching out to various communities, because I know you spoke specifically with passion and about the East African community and your connections. We definitely want to make sure that we're being inclusive in our reach.
Great. All right, anything else? All right, so chair and member comments. I don't have anything, but I'll just call on people. Jasmine? Fartun? Mark?
Nothing for me. It was a good meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Cindy?
I'm good, thanks.
All right. Michael? Michelle?
Nope, thank you.
All right, I think that's everyone. So Heidi, we're on to you for staff comments.
I do not have any staff comments.
All right. Okay, so then we're on to adjourning. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved by Mark.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn by Mark, Commissioner Felton, and a second by Commissioner Meek. So RBC, would you call the roll?
Chair Behringer,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Epstein,
Aye.
Commissioner Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Meek,
Hi.
Commissioner Singer Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks,
everyone.
Kat.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Great job, Kat. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good job,
Thank
Kat.
you. Bye-bye, guys.
Good job, Reese.
Thanks. Okay. Okay. Stop recording.